Hi, I'm Cathy Neptune and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to give you tips, tools, and recipes to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. And talk about fabulous, we have a great menu tonight, kind of celebrating Oktoberfest, if you will, and we're going to do all different types of German recipes that I think you're going to really enjoy. They're fun, they're simple, lots and tons of flavor and wonderful presentation. So I hope you try these at home. And we're going to start out by doing a purple cabbage with a sweet and sour twist, very German, very traditional, and a great side dish as well. And I started in this pot with just one chopped apple, and I prefer the green Granny Smith apples. They're tart, and see, they hold up really well in this process. And a small yellow onion, and I sauteed them just until they're soft. And then in this bag, and I did a bag for a very special reason. What I did is I have probably 4 cups of cabbage, and this is a great recipe to double or triple whatever your needs are for your guests or just for yourself. And I used purple cabbage, and I sprinkled probably a scant teaspoon of salt in the bag, and I'm massaging my cabbage. And that softens it and kind of hastens the process of cooking it on the stove. And then since you already have your salt in there, you don't have to add any more salt to your recipe. So that goes right in a pot or a skillet. And you know what? You could do this in a slow cooker too, and just put it on low for 4 to 6 hours and not even have to worry about it. Look at the colors in there. How fun. And then I'm just going to kind of incorporate all of the apples and everything. And this is going to cook for probably about 40 minutes. Usually it takes an hour or so, but because we've massaged it with some salt and softened the cabbage a bit, it kind of speeds up that process. And then we're going to use equal amounts, probably a 1/3 cup of brown sugar, light or dark, it doesn't matter. And then this is apple cider vinegar. So we're just going to pour that equal amounts in there, and we're just going to mix it up. And I'm going to just leave it on the back burner and slow cook it, and making sure that every few minutes you go in there and stir it up a little. This is a non-stick pot, but you want to make sure it's not scorching because you do have the brown sugar in there. So we're going to get it started and put it on very low, and you can cover it or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And see if this cover will fit. I'll put that cover on it just to keep all the juices in there, and keep an eye on it every once in a while. Like I said, just heat it and stir it very, very slowly. So that's that. And we're going to do our dessert because I have my oven preheated at 400 degrees. And we are going to do an apple strudel. And I have my apples pre-done, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And I'm going to get my puff pastry, which I love. You know, I use a lot of puff pastry when I'm cooking because it's so convenient, and it always comes out looking so beautiful. And this is my puff pastry. And I want to show you this. This is so clever, the way it comes out. And I'm not much of a pastry person, but you're going to like this. This is fun to do. I have 9 separate squares. Thawed out my puff pastry, and you know how it folds in 3 sections? You cut down that fold and make 3 columns, if you will, and then you cut across twice, and you end up with 9 sections, all the same size. So we're going to take one of the squares, and we're going to cut it not all the way to the end. See, just about the top on both sides. The fold is over here, like so. And you take the dough and fold it back over, back and forth, and you make a little, like a nest inside there. I'm going to do another one so you get the hang of it. Fold it over, and it doesn't have to be perfect. All the way up the side. And if you know puff pastry, it puffs all around, and we have an apple filling in the middle.
And every place that you don't fill all the outer edges here, so you fold it down and fold it like that. And this creates a little border for our apple filling. One more, just to make sure you remember. And then cut it this way, all the way through, and all the way through here. And we're doing apple filling today because it's a strudel. Fold this over. See how it meets this edge over here? Right over there. Nothing difficult about this. The kids would love doing this because it's a very dramatic finish when you have it done. So we're going to fill these. And I've done some previously. And what I've done here is I've added some apple slices, and I added some sugar inside the apple slices, and that draws out, see all the moisture and the liquid at the bottom? Well, that all comes out of the apples, so they're not all going to be juicy and run over the sides, because it's not like a pie that's going to be enclosed and really encaptured in the middle. And I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon to our topping in a minute, but I'm going to take just the apple slice and fold it like so. And I think I'm going to do 2 of them. And I add a little flour to it as well, just as a thickener. And this is something you could have the kids do. They would love to do this. It's so fun when you take them out of the oven and see how they're all puffed and golden. And I'm going to keep the rest of this and maybe do apple pancakes in the morning. And I find that 2 slices, see, and I fold them in half, like so. And they hold up pretty well, like that. So here we have, and you want to space these out because these are going to puff up, hopefully. And then I'm going to put this over here. And we're going to make our topping, or a streusel, for the top. Now, this here, this is my new favorite. This is a cup of oat flour, and it's a blend of almonds, pecans, and walnuts. And that's the flour. And then also, I took oatmeal and put it in a blender. This is the oatmeal part of it. And I blended it to like a powder form. And it gives it a wonderful nutty flavor along with the other nuts that you have inside of here. And it's just a wonderful flavor. This is also good for doing something a little low calorie. It's a great thing to do because you don't have a lot of different sugars in them and so forth. And this here, and I added about a 1/3 cup of each of the oat flour and the nut flour. And then we're going to add just as a sweetener, and I want to tell you, just to let you know, this looks like brown sugar, but it's a brown sugar substitute. So again, if you're trying to cut back on sugars and so forth, and watch your carbohydrates on this, but it's a great way to go, and it smells and it reacts just like brown sugar. So I'd say about 2 tablespoons of that. And then some cinnamon. You don't have to be fussy on this, just probably a scant teaspoon. And this is wonderful because it has ginger. This is called Cinnamon Plus. It has ginger, nutmeg, and orange peel. I love it. It's like a spice blend. You can use in pumpkin pie spice, apple pie spice. It's all you're going to need. And don't forget, you can email me, and you can even order them, and I can send them directly to you. And it's a great thing to have on hand. And then to this, we're going to add a little melted butter just to keep everything together. And that's probably 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Let's see how that mixes up. We're going to do a little crumble, if you will, over the top of our apple strudels. And these are going to bake, I would check them after 25 minutes, and I have them on a baking sheet with parchment just in case there's a little spillage of the juices. But these look really fancy. I'm not much of a pastry baker, but boy, you can't go wrong when you use puff pastry because it really adds a lot. And then we're just going to pinch a little bit. I made some extra for our pancakes in the morning. And just put a little on the top. And that butter that's in there is going to seep down. The cinnamon is just very little. And this is good to keep on hand. You can put this on top of ice cream. If you're eating ice cream, that's a good thing. Wouldn't this be fancy to bring somewhere? In fact, this whole dinner would be great for entertaining. And you'll see why in a minute, because has a little bit of everything for everybody. That looks pretty nice. And we're going to pop these in the oven. I'm going to put on my timer. And when we come back, we're going to do the best of the worst, which is our Bratwurst in beer. You're going to love it. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We're doing our Bratwurst in the pan. And I have about an onion in here. Just a chopped sweet onion. Probably half a cup. And we're putting our Bratwurst in here. And Bratwurst is a German sausage made with pork. And these look like beauties. So how easy is this to do for company? And you could grill these. We're going to do these inside on an indoor grill pan. But you can certainly start these the way we're doing with the beer. And then finish grilling them outside on your barbecue grill. Either way. We're going to add, oh my gosh, let's see how much we can get in here. We may only need 1 bottle of beer. I think we'll do it on there. And then a little bit of German mustard or whatever kind that you have that you think you'd like. Put right in there. So we're going to have the onion flavor, a bit of the mustard flavor. And we're just going to poach these for about 10 to 15 minutes. And you'll notice that I haven't boiled, I'm putting these in cold. And it's very important that you put this on a low heat. If you boil it too rapidly, it's going to burst the Bratwurst. It's going to split open. It's not that bad. You know, it's not a disaster if you do, but it just makes a better presentation if you poach them very gently. So we're going to put that on the stove, and I'm going to stir my cabbage too while I'm here. And we're going to start this out. Probably medium heat. And I want you to see the color on this cabbage. Look at this. Look at all the juices that are coming out and softening. And I can smell the brown sugar and the onions and the apple cider vinegar. This is a very traditional and colorful side dish. So that looks really good. And I do, like I said, I like to stir it because you have the brown sugar in there and you don't want it to scorch and stick on the bottom of the pan. So we'll get this back on. And our apple strudels are cooking. And then we're going to put together, when the Bratwurst is done, we're going to put together a beer cheese to go with it. You're going to love this. It's so easy to do. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Look at our Bratwurst that we've poached into the beer and with a little mustard and onion. And you can see they held together pretty darn well. So I took them out with some tongs, and I'm going to put these in, you know how I love my cast iron skillets. So I think I'm going to put this on there and just brown them up for some texture on a pretty low heat. And the cast iron, you can't beat the cast iron skillets for that. I'm going to stir our cabbage, see how that's doing. That is very hot. So we're going to take this, and oh, that's really coming together. That's going to be tasty. Very good. And our Bratwursts are toasting nicely. Now, remember that liquid that we used. This is our poaching liquid, and it has the onions, a little bit of mustard, and of course that lovely beer. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in here, and I don't think I want the big chunks of onions, but it doesn't matter. And we're going to put the broth to equal about a cup. And you have the flavor of the Bratwurst in here too, so this is going to be really good. And let's see, that might work. And then in this pan, look at this. This is called a roux. And it's just equal amounts of butter and flour that I've toasted. And this takes about 15 minutes. But look at that golden color. This is gives it a really depth of flavor, a really nice flavor. It's worth taking that extra time, and it really enhances the beer flavor that's in our broth. So this broth is hot, and you'll find if you have trouble making roux and you get lumps inside your roux, if you use a hot liquid like this to your roux, you very seldom get any lumps, which is really cool. So we're going to put that in. And that roux, the reason I did that, aside from flavor, is it's going to thicken this broth really well. And if you find that this is a little too thick, you can always thin it down with more broth because we have more. So we're going to put that in there. And to this, we're going to add a little bit of cream cheese. This is probably 2 to 3 ounces. Oops. In there, and then some cheddar cheese. And this takes a lot of sharp, I have a blend of sharp cheddar and regular cheddar, and I think I'm going to warm this up just to melt the cream cheese a little bit. And all of this you can do ahead of time. It makes a great buffet, great if you're doing a game day. Imagine watching a game and having all this in crock pots, or you can prepare all of this the day before and just pop it in the oven or reheat it on the stove. Take your brats outside on the grill if it's a beautiful day. And people are going to be amazed when you see how this is served and the different accompaniments that you can do. It's pretty nice, a nice menu. So I'm going to see how this is doing, warming up. And it shouldn't take very long. Now, sometimes what I do, if you didn't want to make a roux, you can put a little bit of flour, maybe a tablespoon of flour or cornstarch in here. Toss it with the cheese, and that'll act as a thickening agent too. But I really like the extra flavor that a brown roux will give to this whole beer cheese that we're making. And I always suggest grating your own cheese, because if you buy it already grated in the packet, they have a coating on it, and it really, I think, compromises the final results, and you'll be much happier. And you can do any blend. Like I said, this is a sharp cheddar and a yellow cheddar. You could do a little bit of Emmenthal or smoked Gouda would be wonderful. But I really want the flavor of the cheese to shine in this dish and also be able to taste the beer. And I like the cream cheese because it kind of softens the flavor of the beer. It isn't as stark or harsh. I'm going to see how our cabbage... That's looking, oh boy, is that beautiful color. And our sausages are browning, and I want to show you, this is all pretty much coming together. And the cream cheese, look at how creamy this is going to be. And I don't add any salt to this because the Bratwurst is, on its own, is very salty. If you want to bump up the flavor and add a little bit of garlic, you could certainly do that as well. And then let's add some of this cheddar. This is about 2 cups of cheddar. So we had about 1 cup of the beer, about 2 ounces of the cream cheese. And you can always add more. Let me see how this is. Oh, this is going to be good. I think we can put a little more. Oh, I can smell the beer. That beer, I'll tell you. And here we are. And that, doing that roux too, it kind of protects the cheese from scorching. It gives it a nice base, much like you'd be doing a mac and cheese. And you can see already how easily that melts. if you have a little crock pot and you were serving this, it'd be really nice to serve this up on a buffet in a little crock pot and just let it set there. And it'll keep forever for your guests and stay nice and warm. The cabbage is just about done. And we have our little apple strudels. Wait until you see those. Those came out really good. And I'm going to turn the bratwurst. And they're getting nice and brown. They're really cooked through, so you just want to brown them. Look at how nice and brown they're getting on the other side. Those are nice. Can you imagine if you had these on the grill, too? So we're going to do that and stir. Kind of keep an eye on the cheese sauce. And everything's almost done. And when we come back, wait until you see how we plate this. It's really fun to do. And we'll do a little bit of tool time as well. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Welcome to tool time. We're going to do tool time because you know what I always say, you can't build a house and you can't cook a meal without the right tools. So I'm going to share with you kind of an update. This is kind of an old standard and it really saves a lot in the kitchen, penny-wise and also time. It's a meat mallet. And you use the ends. You can see there's different degrees. This is a smaller one. You probably use this for chicken or veal. And then this has a larger spaced. And I would use these for steaks or tenderizing more tougher bits of beef, if you will. And then there's a flat edge. So when you start out, you pound down like this. And as you pound and spread out like that until you have a very even thickness. And then your meats will cook evenly. And then if you want to tenderize it, you use either side like this or that. And it's not a very large tool, but it's a great basic to have in your kitchen. This is what I use when I do chicken parm or I do like a steak, a Salisbury steak or pork tenderloins. Great way to use this. And this is kind of an updated version. It weighs a ton. Look at that. And it does most of the work because it is so heavy. And this part is the flat part. And again, you pound like this and kind of out towards the edges. And then you start in the middle of your meat and pound it always from the thickest part to the thinnest part. And then when you want to use the spiked version, you just unscrew that. And you can flip this around. And it's on there pretty well. And it's kind of like weightlifting, I guess. And then you put it on there and you're good to go. And these are very effective. They're very sharp. And this makes short work. This takes less time than this. But if this is all you can find. But I can order these tools for you. If you want something like this, it makes a great gift with somebody with some nice herb blends or herb rubs or whatever. That's a great tool to have in your kitchen. So either way, you may even have these in the kitchen and not know, how to use them effectively or efficiently. They're great, so get yourself some. Okay, we'll be right back and we're going to plate everything up for you. Hi, welcome back. I want to show you the best of the worst. Look at these bratwurst. Poached in beer, browned in a cast iron skillet. And we even have the pretzel buns. How cool is that? I toasted them with butter on a grill. And I'm going to show you how to plate them up in a minute. Look at our red cabbage with the apples and the onions and the brown sugar and vinegar. This is awesome. This is a great side dish. In fact, this whole menu, like I said, what a great buffet to have. Then I serve alongside 3 or you can do 1 or 2 or 3, whatever your favorite pickles are. Those are great. And then I have a selection of mustards. How fun is this? And you can there's a lot of catalog stores where you can order different flavors. And that's kind of what I did. And then I made my own. This here is a German honey mustard. Very, very good flavor. This one is a regular, a spicy brown or German mustard. And this one is caramelized onions and roasted garlic. with a mustard in it too. So I think these are great. I'm going to try, this one here fascinates me. I'm going to use that. And then if you wanted to do we have a beer, this is our beer cheese sauce that's going to go over the top. But what I love, this is so good. You can also serve it with some pretzel sticks or little mini pretzels, or pretzel, you can buy pretzel rolls, or you can even do the giant pretzels that are in your freezer. They come frozen, you can bake them and serve freshly baked pretzels alongside the beer cheese. How fun. And even if you just wanted to do the Bratwurst in beer and use that to dip in the cheese sauce. So you get wonderful use out of the same ingredients several different ways. So for those who don't want to do carbs or bread, serve it like this. It's a great way to do it. And then look at our apple strudels that came out of the oven. Do you believe they puffed up in the puff pastry? And if you use that fold technique and just a slight bit of the apples in there and a streusel topping, that is a wonderful, wonderful finger food to have. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to take a pretzel bun and a Bratwurst, and I think I'll do some garlic mustard, the roasted garlic and onion. And you don't need a whole lot depending on your taste. But you can have a lot of fun with all the different flavored mustards. And you can buy them or make your own out of a regular mustard. Let's do some, we got to do the beer cheese. And this is nice and hot. So let's pour that over the top like so. And this is going to be messy, so have a lot of napkins. Let's do a few pickles. I like the dill pickles over here. Now you can do one of two things. You can put the slaw on the top. I may do a little on the top, but I also love it on the side. Look at the colors. This is so fun. Let's do a little on the side. And you can certainly do a potato salad if you want a German-style potato salad. But they have a nice cheese board and some fresh fruit at the end. And that's our best of the worst. What a nice dinner this would be for the fall. Or like I said, game day. That would be awesome. Go Pats. So I hope you try these recipes. Thank you to everybody who writes in with your questions and your suggestions. It's so fun to hear from you all. And I hope you try these. Thanks for watching, and may the fork be with you.